Good afternoon, everyone. Great
Good
to
afternoon.
great to have everyone join us here at the Good Talk. Thanks for joining this month's edition of the Good Talk. I'm Katy Gaul-Stigge. I'm President and CEO of Goodwill, New York, New Jersey. And last September, we launched this Good Talk series, which is virtual chats with some of my favorite people about some important topics. And this is our 6th episode. You may check out any past episodes on our YouTube channel, actually, Goodwill, New York, New Jersey, NYNJ, as well as see some other fantastic success story videos and really learn about what we do here. Good Talks helps us tell the story of Goodwill. Almost everybody knows the stores, they know the clothes, and they know our environmental impact, and they know that we do good. But this is really understanding the real people behind it, as well as the real political and policy changes that have happened over the last couple decades that we're going to talk about today. However, especially when it comes to people with disabilities, we're going to celebrate the 32nd anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act, signed in, and we're going to get into that 32 years ago. So, as always, if you are cleaning closets, if you are looking to donate your small items, pre-loved items and home goods, please bring them to your local Goodwill store. We repurpose those, and those become the engine for the kind of work that you're going to hear about today. They really power our services. In fact, Goodwill created this thrift social enterprise model over 107 years ago. I'm proud to say that our headquarters are back in Brooklyn, where we started on State Street, and now we're on Livingston Street, or actually, well, the store's on Livingston Street. We're on Elm Place, just a couple blocks away from where we started in 1915. So I am excited today to talk about July, which is Disability Pride Month. And on July 22nd, we will celebrate the 32nd anniversary of the signing of the Americans with Disability Act. This landmark law has positively impacted the lives of people with disabilities in the workplace and in general. I know that I've enjoyed the curb cuts with the stroller. Thank you, ADA, for that, as we all have enjoyed a lot of accessibility that has allowed all of us to expand opportunities. We are proud of the impact that Goodwills had in the last year. We're proud of the impact the ADA has had in all of these years. If you didn't know, we provided employment services for nearly 10,000 people who are unemployed or underemployed, almost half of them people with disabilities. We collaborate with large and small companies to place people in jobs outside of our Goodwill stores. So today you're going to hear from Matthew, and when you hear that he works in retail, you might think, oh, I bet he works in one of our stores. Hi, Matthew. But actually, he's working at a different retailer that I believe, really enjoys, and we're going to hear about that in just a little bit. Our team does a great job, like Ganesh and Ed and other members of our team do a great job placing people in industry sector jobs at hospitals, healthcare centers, tech firms, accounting firms, warehouse, grocery store, and even at city government. The mission of Goodwill, New York, New Jersey is to empower individuals with disabilities and other barriers to employment to gain independence through the power of work. I like to say we're bulldozing barriers for all, creating opportunity for everyone. So I invited Ed O'Donnell, our Senior Vice President of Employment Services for people with disabilities, to chat about ADA. And Ed, it says here that you were actually working at Goodwill when ADA was signed.
Right. Yeah. So I came to Goodwill a long time ago, 36 years ago, 1986, and was at Goodwill for a fair number of years before the ADA became the law. That was 1990, 32 years ago. And what's amazing to me is the speed at which that law sort of picked up advocacy for people with disabilities and helped them find employment. So there are a lot of different ways that the ADA, I think, has impacted employment, anything from supporting the use of job coaches to help people out at different employers learn their tasks and become better workers, to the use of technology. I was kind of reflecting the other day on technology and its use for people with disabilities and how important that is as an aspect of the ADA. And just thinking about Goodwill, we have employees at Goodwill who happen to have disabilities who might be using adaptive software if they have a visual impairment, using JAWS as a screen reader. That's a software application that as you move the cursor, because you're not using a mouse usually, using a cursor to move across the screen, the up and down and left to right keys, that reads the text that's on the screen. Or if you're a person who doesn't really have the ability to understand, to use a keyboard, let's just say, there's Dragon Naturally Speaking or other applications that will actually type out on the screen for you if you don't use the keyboard. So adaptive software is just one of many things that's being used. We do a lot of work with people on the autism spectrum, and there's what they call AAC, augmentative and alternative communication devices. These are devices where people can point to pictographs or other things that help them use sort of standardized phrases or requests to help people understand what their needs are. So I think that the ADA has been really important in bringing technology, and that's just one aspect of it, to the workplace to help people and support people finding, getting, and keeping employment.
That's so great. And I mentioned curb cuts earlier because that's something is always brought up as a universal accessibility piece. But it's so important to think of these technology advances that we all may use, and how the ADA has really inspired and the technology revolution has come together. How is Goodwill advancing? Or sorry, before I ask that, I know that adaptive technology has allowed, a lot more people access. Can you tell us a little bit about our collaboration with CUNY students who design adaptive tech? We do this about once a year, and I always find it so exciting.
So Goodwill's a member of NYSID, New York State Industries for the Disabled, and they have a fund of money that they use to encourage the creation of adaptive technology to support and assist people with disabilities in the community. So being a member agency, we volunteered to work with engineering students. So at different times, different years, they've worked with the Merchant Marine Academy and City University students in a variety of departments, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, and the students come up with creative ideas. So they'll come to us and they may bring an idea and say, we'd like to do something for a person with a visual impairment to help them navigate. So one of the projects we had worked on is they built a cane that had a sensing device that would feed back information to the person that used it about how far a distance was, whether or not they were coming through water, all sorts of things like that. It's really interesting because each of the students brings their own skill level and interest and priority to it. And over the years, they've developed a fair number of projects, some of which have won national awards.
That's really great. And can you tell us today how Goodwill is advancing the needs of autistic people with autism, and how are we addressing that in some of our programs and the way we approach bulldozing barriers for work?
So the work that we're doing with people with autism, we work across a broad range of individuals. For some people, reading faces is a major obstacle. So one of the projects that some of the engineering students worked on was using a software application that could be used on an iPhone or an Android device that would help them recognize facial expressions. Reading people's expressions in the workplace is critical. You and I may take that for granted because we just do it naturally. We can tell when someone's angry or concerned or upset or just doesn't understand what you're saying. For people on the spectrum, that can be a challenge sometimes. So using that technology to help people in the workplace develop skills so they can communicate both with coworkers, their supervisors, and even customers. So this is a real breakthrough in technology that's being supported by Goodwill and helps us place people in jobs integrated completely into the community. We're not talking about placing people in Goodwill stores. And I think that that's an important distinction to make. A lot of people make that assumption.
Yeah, they do.
We're working with accounting firms. We're working with Google. We're working in retail stores, restaurants, wherever the person wants to be placed. That's where we're working.
Exactly. It's a person-centered approach that really talks about what are you interested in. We're going to hear from Matthew about two things that he's interested in just a little bit. But if there's any companies that are out there that are looking to hire qualified employees, if you're going to a barbecue this weekend and someone says, "Oh, I'd love to, get some employees or get some more coworkers," have them email findgoodpeople@goodwillny.org. So find good people, that makes sense, right? So if anyone a family member or a friend or roommate is interested in our employment services, also please email us at services@goodwillny.org. And we'll put those addresses in the chat as well. I just want to say thank you to Ed. He's just an expert in the field, and we love chatting with you and learning from you, Ed. It's a real honor to be working with someone with such strong advocacy for all of us to make sure that we are living in a world with no barriers. So thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
We've also invited Matthew, who we previewed here, who received services at our advanced program in the Bronx, and Ganesh, the program's employment specialist. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ganesh is probably just one of our superstar employment specialists. He is always bringing us wonderful stories, because you're always really looking at the person and seeing what they're interested in, and really making sure that Goodwill is meeting them and seeing not just the today, but the future. And this is another example of that. So I'm excited to share that. Matthew, nice to meet you.
Hello.
Great shirt.
Hello. Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Had to go with blue just for the occasion.
Yes, Goodwill Blue. Why don't we start with the first question? What was your life like before coming to Goodwill?
Well, when I was in school in 2017, I volunteered for Epiphany Library for more than 2 years. And after I graduated, I was unemployed for 1 year until I came to Goodwill's advanced program in 2020. Then the team at the advanced program helped me find out how to join an organization where I can learn how to work on digital marketing. I really enjoy video editing.
Well, that sounds very interesting. Why don't we go back and tell me, how did you find out about Goodwill?
Well, I found out about Goodwill's advanced program from my Access VR counselor.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Now, when you came to Goodwill, it was February 2020, and we all remember what that was like, kind of the before times.
Yep, a beautiful time.
Yeah. What services were you looking for, and how did was Goodwill able to respond to what you needed?
Yes, they were able to respond to my needs. I was actually also looking for services to enhance my resume and interview skills, along with finding work in a video editing and retail field.
Great. So where are you working now, and in what position?
I am currently working at Marshall's, and I was initially hired as a greeter in the Bronx. However, that position faded out, and then I swiftly transitioned into a size-up associate. And as a size-up associate, I create tickets for items that are missing their price tags. I work for 4 days, 20 hours per week from 8 to 12.
And what do you enjoy most about working at Marshall's?
I enjoy the relationship I have developed with my coworkers, managers, and being able to help out a customer.
Those are things that I like too. I like my coworkers a lot. Now that you're working, many people might think, okay, you're working, you got a job. Do you need Goodwill? How does Goodwill support you now?
Well, the team at the advanced program provides me with pointers and then checks in with me at my job physically. They also encourage me to work on my Adobe Premiere Pro projects to eventually find employment in the video editing field. I'm currently working at Marshall's until I can gather the resources and skills to find work in said video editing field.
What a great goal. What do you like to do outside work?
When I'm not working, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
You did great.
Thank you. When I'm not working at Marshall's, I usually like to learn Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a video editing software. My mom bought me some courses from Udemy, which is an online teaching and marketplace to improve my job related skills. I also like to take walks and do chores.
So with video editing, is this a hobby or would you like to do this for a living?
No, it is not a hobby. I would like to do it for a living. Love to do it for a living. I'm building up my skill set for the field, and I would like to also continue my employment at Marshall's to eventually become self-employed or obtain an employment at a job company that specializes in video editing.
That's a great combination, right? Most artists have to work like yourself as
really
well.
Do. It is. It's hard, but it's brilliant at the same time.
That's wonderful. How has your life, would you say your life has improved since you came to Goodwill?
Yes. Thanks to Goodwill, I've learned to be more respectful and humble, and through their discussions and social activities they hold. My interpersonal skills have also improved. I've also learned how to save my money.
That sounds great. Thanks for joining us today, Matthew. You've got such great energy. I can see you're excited about what you do. I'm sure you're a fantastic coworker to your colleagues. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the group here at the Good Talk?
Well, I would just like to thank you all for inviting me to this event, and I would also like to thank the staff at Advance for their support. And last but not least, I would like to thank my employers at Marshall's for employing me and having wonderful colleagues that I work with.
That's really great. I hear that Marshall's recently named you Employee of the Month.
Yes, they did. I have the plaque. I don't have it on me, unfortunately. I have that at home.
That's great, though. Congratulations. It's always nice to be appreciated for your hard work. We're going to go to Q&A. Do you mind hanging out with us a little longer in case anyone has any questions for you?
Sure, why not?
Oh, thank you. Well, if anyone has any questions, they can put it in the chat. But before we leave, I guess, or while people maybe are asking some questions, I just want to say that, I think I have a statistic here. Let's see if I can pull up the right one. We place people with disabilities. Last year, we placed 59%, so almost 60% more individuals with disabilities in jobs compared to the previous year. In fact, we've had a great article, or Cranes covered the fact that more people with disabilities are in this kind of, I don't want to say the word recovery maybe, but as we're coming out of COVID, people with disabilities are entering the workforce at a slightly improved rate over historical trends. And we really believe that that's partly because employers really see value in the workforce and are now opening their doors maybe a little wider, the way we hope that they always would, and removing barriers to folks. So we really see a great opportunity that we're taking right now. And we really think we could do even more to remove all the barriers for our folks, to get everyone into work so they can both work and pursue their dreams, just like Matthew. So we have some really positive trends actually happening right now in the marketplace that we are capitalizing on. Let's see here, I don't see any questions. That's okay. So I just wanted to kind of end with the fact that, our programs here at Goodwill historically have let our workers stay on the jobs for years or even decades, which is much, much stronger than if you look at other historical trends. And the key to success here at Goodwill is the model of providing coaching, wraparound, and other retention services to those that we place in a job for as long as they need it, to ensure they stay on the job while they're pursuing whatever else their heart desires, if it's art, opera, video editing, opening your own business. And we are really excited that you came to join us today. We're really excited to continue to do this work and hope that you, if you joined us today, will continue to join us and support Goodwill by coming on to our next event, perhaps, of course, sharing a donation, but maybe even giving a financial contribution to the work that we're doing. We're really excited about having more partners in this work to bulldoze barriers to employment and help folks like Matthew achieve their dreams and continue the work that's been happening for the last 32 years. I actually am going to do a small plug for a book I just read it's underneath my computer though. I just read part of why the ADA was signed was that the students at Gallaudet University it's a deaf university, wanted a president that was deaf. And I just read this book, True Biz, about, is this one of the books you've read, Ed, in your book club?
I haven't read that one, no.
Okay. It's about...
That's a really nice cover. That is a really nice cover.
Isn't it? It's a nice cover. But it talks a little bit about very briefly about some history of pre-ADA and how the ADA actually got passed. So it's on our minds. We're really proud of the work that the advocates did before us, and we hope to continue the fight to make sure that we're bulldozing barriers and making sure that everyone has no talent is left on the sidelines. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at our next Good Talk.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Have a nice day.
Bye. Thank you, Matthew.